Apparently.
Apparently, yes.
Peter, sometimes it's funny to see, because usually we or I think my thought is only my thought, but I think it's not like this. Before Paul and me, we were standing near the fruit basket, and just there came the idea, oh, I could take a banana. And at the same moment he turned and took a banana. And it was funny. It was... it was. I thought it's my thought. It's happening here, but it must be happening with him at the same moment.
Took the last banana.
No, there was three left.
Bananas all meat.
I don't know how it's all working.
I was thinking.
I don't even know where the thoughts are appearing. We think that they're appearing inside the brain, and then when it begins to be seen that's a thought, then where is it even coming from, that invisible sound of thoughts? It's a funny one.
Lisa, before you were saying that, not the word cause, you didn't use that, but suffering somehow could lead us to look for non-duality, for an answer there to stop the suffering. No? And then talking to Andrea before, she was sharing that when she was very little, she can remember moments when she wasn't there. Same here.
Yeah.
And I've heard that from several other people, that we've had experiences when...
But I think that can only be recognised when the awakening's begun. Like otherwise you wouldn't remember it.
Exactly.
You remember it after that
Absolutely.
case.
Yeah.
And then
Thank you for this answer.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah,
Because I hadn't thought about it. Yeah.
That was an easy one.
That was That really was it? Okay. I thought it was going somewhere else then.
No, just... But for me, it was new. I don't know, I'm sure I've heard it 1,000 times, the suffering. Because I've heard you say often, I'm not good enough. Can be also, the trigger to look for non-duality and okay, that's there and I get it. But the suffering, maybe you've already said it before and I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
But today suddenly I heard it. And I thought, gee, with the amount of depressions with which this body has gone through, or this character, I'm not surprised that I looked like mad till I got here.
The ache of the person always contains I'm not good enough. Going back to that one again. Always contains that. Whenever the personal energy is strong, it always has a sense of lack, of like I've failed in some way. There's something I'm missing here. It's like you've been abandoned or rejected by something. It always has that sensation, even though we're putting words on it, of abandonment. You've done something.
Can you say something about two people relationships, love relationships?
Well, like how I've said that animals don't take things personally. Well, there can be examples of animals where, like swans, where they pair for life, and they always mate with the same swan, and often when one swan dies, the other dies shortly after, and humans say it's suicide of the other swan. But it normally also dies, it doesn't normally pair again. And with humans, I'm not really sure of the setup of humans. I think there's some sort of setup in the body to mate with another and to reproduce with another, and I don't really understand how long it's to last or what it's meant to do. What happens when the identity there is there, though? That they project so much onto this. Like our whole, we spend so much time in this romantic relationship idea, and what I think happens often is when you're making love, it's such a pleasurable act that the self dissolves. You don't have a sense of I want to be somewhere else. You're just making love, you're just kissing, and you kind of lose a sense of whose bit of body you've got where. It kind of all merges into one. Sometimes there is a big sense of self when you're making love, and you're like, that normally only is at the beginning of a relationship, the first time you kiss or the second. It doesn't. Normally the identity comes in and starts making the other person something. And then, because there's been this beautiful experience, or because also we're taught by society of this beautiful experience of a romantic relationship, the person then sets the romantic relationship up as the ideal and as something to get. And it starts playing really weird games, and it's complicated because it's obviously like there's a chemical thing where two bodies, humans, like there's a breeding and there's two bodies that are drawn together. And then when you personalize it, it can often become, he's not giving it to me, she's not giving it to me, she's taking away something for me, and you begin to hate the other person for not giving you that ideal relationship, this big bang that you've been expecting from it. And so often these love relationships that begin so beautifully end up into a hate thing because you're expecting so much from the other, and you're expecting to repeat again this sensation of love at the beginning, or you're expecting it to always be good, or you're expecting them to do certain things for you. And with all these expectation comes this weight of suffering. And it can become really neurotic, the relationship, with all the conditioning of each one, and then the conditioning taken personally. And overthinking it, we need to work out our problems. I'm not a big fan of therapy of relationships. I don't think you will work out your problems when there's a personal entity there. I think it's just destined to be a bit rocky when someone's personalizing it. Because also the bodies are set up differently. The woman's body's set up to more nest and to create a more nesting environment, and I don't know if the male body's so set up for that. So there's all these conflicting things that are happening, and we've got this idea that you should be with me for 50 or 60 years, or very, very funky dance which the humans have in love relationships. When there's personal identity there, I think it's always going to be a bit rocky. A bit bumpy. Especially if you want, or if you have the idea, which I sometimes think is more of a female idea, that the other one will produce your happiness. I think often the woman looks to the man for happiness. Not all the time, it can be the other way around, but I think women sometimes suffer a lot with that. They're it. And trying to maintain it and protect it, and even maintaining it and protecting it can actually be a very natural thing. Like the male swan will fight off all the other male swans from the area, so there's just the male swans in that area, and the female would do it, I think, if other female swans came in that area. It can be a very natural thing, that it's when it's personalized it becomes a problem.
So in a relationship where there is nobody, I mean, both the me is not there anymore, then it can work out quite well.
Well, unless you're already together, it might not be such a urge to stay together. Unless you've already got a home environment set up together, it might not be such a pull to be together.
Can you repeat this?
I don't really know what I'm saying. I just find that people who've not already got the relationship established before the falling away happened, there might not be such a strong pull to be together.
Are you saying that if you meet two people who are not there anymore, if they meet, there won't be?
Could be, but it's not like before where the other person is it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter if they're there or not, isn't it? But the chemicals obviously will have some effect, like the chemicals to reproduce and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
What's complicated is if there is one there and one who isn't there. That is definitely complicated because I've met two couples. They had to separate because one was very personalizing and the other one was not there, and somehow it didn't work out.
because they'll be wanting to fix their problems and work out their problems, and then the other one won't see problems.
A funny way of fasting.
You didn't give me enough love the other night, and then the other one's like, oh, yeah, when? It's a bit funny. I don't really understand it though. Like everything.
So the attraction is only on the chemical level, because then I would have the feeling that I would choose a new woman every 3 days.
Might be
Only this level, this.
Might be that's the way the male body is more programmed. I don't know, or certain male bodies are more programmed.
Actually, it's not so for me, but I would have this tendency. If it's just chemical, I love to see a beautiful woman, and I have my thoughts with that. But this is just a program. Personally, or deeper within, there is this tendency to stay with one other person. It's much more intimate,
Yeah, maybe.
nicer, and so.
But what's more?
Because you have spoken about this chemical attraction. This
Yeah,
is working
yeah.
out, and this is the beginning.
Sorry? But this is what?
Now, this is the beginning, and this is.
I don't really know how it's working actually. This is where you're catching me out. I don't really know what takes two bodies together. I look at animals and it happens in the animal kingdom. So
Yeah.
it's happening in the human kingdom, but I don't understand, or the human world, I don't understand how it's really working. But it does seem that two bodies come together and make a home together and reproduce. It's not like four bodies or...
And so, for me, the question arose: what does keep human beings together? Couples keep them together. If it's only about this chemical attraction.
Well, the obvious answer, which is just a rubbish answer for a lot of people, is nothing. Nothing does everything. Nothing's the director of everything.
Sometimes it happens, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And there can be.
But it doesn't really matter when you're not looking for your fulfillment in that relationship. It doesn't really matter. It's when you're looking for, however it manifests, it's when you're looking for the other person to give you that extra thing in life. Nothing can give you the extra thing in life. It's this, what's happening, whether that body's there or not. I don't understand why or how the relationship thing's working really. But the problem is when that other person is your happiness, they're going to give it to you. And that's how most people relate to relationships, and they hate the person after a while because you haven't given it to me. You've taken something from me. They feel like the other person's holding back something. You've taken it from me. You're not giving it to me. And nothing can give it to you. It's hopeless. Everything's hopeless. Like everything that you try to grab to is hopeless. Every idea, every spiritual practice, every person is hopeless. Because it's in the nothing, the nothingness of this, which is everything, but not one particular thing. And these relationships become so intense, and people kill over these relationships because they believe it's in that.
I've heard so many clients saying, I've given him the best years of my life, and they get so angry.
What a terrible way to look at the other person.
Yeah.
I've given it to him. Like, and I hear women say this a lot. Like, I've given him all this, because women do tend to have a natural, more giving way. They're the ones that, And so therefore then they personalize that and they're like, I've given to him, I've done these things for him. It's his fault, he didn't give to me, he never made the bed. I think the woman suffers over this a lot more.
Yeah.
The relationship.
Ta.
We can always contradict everything.
I think the woman goes into a relationship with a lot of expectations of them producing happiness, and then the man suffers because he keeps failing the woman. Like on the other, there is pain in both sides. But we brought up like money, except money. Money is also the other king, but relationships in this society are king. Like it's the thing. Except money. Money is the other thing.
But when I'm hearing this, I have the feeling I'm very lucky because I'm in a happy relationship. It sounds that it's not possible, but I've experienced it as a melting.
Yeah.
It's really, for both persons, it's really great and good and happy about it and forgetting about me, just thinking about us. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah, but that's most probably because there's less personal ideas involved in it. There's less entity, like separate entities there. It is a really beautiful, everything's really beautiful, but it can be a really beautiful act when it's not. When it's really strongly personalised. Like if you look at most of society, they hate each other, most couples. But if there's not much identity there, then there's not much friction, there's not trying to save the relationship or work the relationship out, it's just a happening, a melting. But if you just look back at society and listen to people, they're always moaning about their partner.
just to give me some relaxation.
Yeah.
There isn't anything that can be done by anybody, nobody, to personalize or not personalize any life situation.
There's nobody there ever doing anything. So personal energy appear or it stops appearing. And it's not anybody's actions because there's nobody, there's just appearance happening. And in that appearance there might be also the appearance of a separate entity. But that also is appearance. There's nobody doing anything. But doing happens, but it's not anybody's. And there's not a better doing.
So also the talking about it doesn't better the situation.
The talkings are happening.
Thanks for being here anyway.
The mind just goes, whoosh.
Yes!
It's so used to looking at cause and effect.
Yes.
But when has there ever been cause and effect? When did anything start? Name one thing that started. Where it started anew from the fresh. Might take a while. How's that?
My mind wants to find an answer to that question.
Yeah.
It wants it running like what?
It's so obvious what's happening, that it's no thing happening, that nothing's happening. There's not separate things, that's so obvious. There's no thing, there cannot be cause and effect. You cannot find the start of anything. Only in our limited description can we describe cause and effect, just as a way of communication, a made-up way to communicate, and we took it as a reality. This caused that. You, and it's mostly about you and me, not you and me, but like you and me as a whole. Like, you did this to me, I did that to you. Guilty, bad, good. But no action is separate from everything else that ever happened, which is nothing. 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 It's so beautiful. I love it when we start talking about nothing. It sounds so negative to the mind.
Beautiful English.
I can see you're still trying to find something that began. I can see you're trying to find something that began.
Okay.
But for example, a baby, the result of the sexual relationship between a man and a woman in your life.
We could say that limited human communication, but where did the act of that baby begin? At what moment did that baby begin? At the very moment of the beginning of the baby.
When the little thing of the man and the round thing of the woman got together, no?
You're so cute.
That's the
I get to see her eyes. I get to see her eyes looking then. Well, when the egg and the sperm got together.
Is that not the beginning?
Well, when did the egg and the sperm begin? It's like a kaleidoscope. You'll never find it. It's all nothing. I love it though. Well, when that's what most people think. It's so cute. They've been taught that. The baby begins at that point, the egg, and then we've never even seen it, the egg and the sperm, we've just seen pictures of it in books. It might be that this body's empty, we don't even know, we've never even looked inside. It's just a whole big joke. And then we read it in a book, there's an egg, there's a sperm. Imagine societies are joking with us like the world is flat. See, the body's a robot. It's all machine inside.
We could ask the man who took a deep look into the elephant.
Two times.
This was.
Did it happen twice?
Made up. Yeah.
Several times.
That's an inside joke.
The black hole joke.
But it was a funny thing when I was about 5. My mother told me how this works.
Yeah.
And
At 5 you got told that.
Yes, but it was very funny because it was the first time I was really lost. Yeah, because I asked my mother, and who was the first one? And I was lost because my mother didn't answer.
Oh, she didn't know.
And my mother and my father was not very Catholic and so on, and there was not. And I really get lost.
Oh, yeah. Who was the first one? That's such a cute question.
And I think from that moment on, I don't trust my mother anymore.
Incredibly funny for something.
Until today.
Yes.
Who was the first one? Your mother must be like, oh crap.
No, she was like, some say, But it was the same feeling when I first time was in contact with this message, with this non-duality message. It was about and it's now about half a year.
Yeah.
It's the same with my mother.
Yeah. Sometimes what happens in hearing this message, if you go, is that, you know how you were saying in the break that your thoughts went a bit wild last night or something, or your head felt big? Yeah. Like sometimes what happens is it's trying to find somewhere to sit. So it's scrambling to find something that it thinks it knows. Because it's really scary, the idea of not knowing. Something that's always felt like it knows. So it's like, hang on, there's something.
It's interesting you say that, because I just had a bargain with my mind, which was giving in and was confessing. So that all those cause and effect stories and our belief systems, my mind kind of said, it is true, but only on a very superficial level. When it comes to deeper asking or questioning, then there is no real answer. Then it's not an answer anymore. And the message, or the vital message, or the message we are sharing here, we are sharing with us, is kind of a very simple message or answer, but is an answer to every question. And my mind cannot say no to that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My mind said, hey, there is always an answer. Perhaps it's paradox, perhaps it doesn't make sense, but there actually, in a way, there is an answer to every question any human being in here has asked.
Which is? Which is?
The answer?
I don't know.
Yes, I don't know, or nothing appearing as something or so. But there is an answer. I mean, very simple, paradox perhaps, but...
Yeah, and it's very superficial the way the mind thinks. Very limited. And it's just a relative thing of like, pass me the sugar and sugar gets passed. But that's not the actual way things are happening, but it's a way that humans communicate. But humans have taken that to be truth, and it's become you. With your belief systems, what you know. So then the next time that you say it's your fault, then you'll be like, ah. You did this. I did this.
is there any more anxiety on the side over there?
This side. What do you describe as anxiety?
Like just, I don't know, maybe fearing you're wrong or something's gonna happen.
There's all sorts of different feelings, and I can't really name all of them, but it's just not mine anymore. It's just the happening. And this, but even to say like Lisa doesn't feel anything's a bit of a funny thing, because so say if I said it's the end of blame, so Ramesh Balsekar, he used to say it's the end of blame and guilt. And I can understand what he meant by that, but in another way it's not, because you are no longer this body, and therefore blame and guilt can still arise in this. Maybe not from this body, from other bodies, but that's still you. So all the lines begin to get blurred, but it's the end of that one that's holding anything to be more you, which is an energetical thing. And it just becomes very silent in a non-silent way, or empty. And then things are happening. I'm full, but things are happening, but it's just the happening. But fear could happen. Anxiety, I think, tends to be about storytelling. So, but it tends to be this is what's going to happen if this happens. Tends to be more of you imagining running out of money, or imagining. But I don't really know.
There's future stories, right?
Sorry?
Some of the stories about the future.
Yeah, but there could
Projected
be.
future.
But there could be like this building starts shaking, and then you might say that all the bodies feel anxiety. It's like, or something. There's an earthquake, or aliens start descending at the windows, and we're all like, ah. But basically these questions normally are, I don't want to feel anxiety anymore, do you? Normally when you ask about personal things, it's because you want to avoid anxiety. You want to hope that anxiety will go.
I had this experience recently going through the woods, and I realized I am the woods, okay, kind of. And then I realized I came into thinking. Actually, I was thinking about this here. And then I realized I'm contracting and then open up again. I'm still the woods. But if I make a huge story, this is suddenly coming out to the open, or not living in the contraction of mind. Sometimes I was feeling like swimming in situations, especially social, alone, very nice, but with other people and swimming and anxiety kind of in what?
Yeah, it can, because it's the personal energy coming back in and going, where am I sitting? I should be sitting somewhere. When I say sitting, I need to be something. So it's in the woods, and it's not such an issue, but then when it's with other people, it's like, hang on, I need to be something now. So it goes back into a bit of personal story of, I need to sit somewhere. Because you might not be doing very well socially.
Yeah.
Or what other people expect. It just...
So you're saying that there's no need to sit anywhere?
No, but it's it's when the anxiety comes, it's the person wanting to have a position, to be able to relate to another person.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no position in which you could be, but if it happens, it happens. We know how to relate to other body mind mechanisms by knowing who we are, and then we know who they are. And then when that begins to drop, that can be scary.
Yeah.
Because then you're just naked with them. And it's so intimate, because the borders begin to dissolve. You over there and me here.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. I think when you get to be fine with being naked, then what else could happen? So, yeah. No need for anxiety. Somehow.
drinking, some heavy breathing.
Can you say something about how you experience life, or life is experienced through your body-mind system as well? Like this?
No.
There's no words for that.
It's so hard.
Huh?
I can't even find myself, let alone describe myself, only in a very limited form of talking about Lisa. Just what the body does.
Happiness. Just.
I can't even. This is why I speak in the negative. Even now, just when us two were talking about anxieties, we got so lost, us two. I don't know if anyone else noticed this energetically. But both of us were getting so lost.
Okay, so what do you mean by negative? It's easier to talk what it's not.
I can only point to what it's not.
Okay.
It's so hard. I got a t-shirt at home that says "Don't follow me, I'm lost." I got it from a camping or walking shop. You really do become lost. That sounds really like you just don't know anymore. You're not sure. Right. Just in a very limited way of the body.
Was a girl at the fun park yesterday with a t-shirt, "Trust me," and on the other side, "Or not." Trust me or not.
But in a way, I create my world. I create Lisa. I create all of you. Because my creation is not. You don't exist. You exist only in my.
And who's
way.
who's your brain?
My brain, my construction. You know.
Where does your brain come from?
Who knows? Who knows? But you know, we have. You have your world. I have mine. You know, I create you. You create me because. You know, so there will be. You know, the world is what you invent, what you see. What you see is what you get in any way. What you see is what you get. This is very important.
But that, in a way, like that's a different language from mine. But then the question comes to: so who's the one that's seeing the world? Like that's true that the world is veiled by everything the brain's producing. It's most probably the brain. I'm not 100% sure.
You see me.
And who's me though? Obviously the brain's creating all these ideas, but who's the me that's creating the brain?
Yeah, but in any case, whatever, I see Lisa and I create my Lisa.
Yeah.
You see me, you create.
It's not. My language would be: it's not you creating it, but there's a creation of Lisa, and it's nothing to do with this body-mind mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the veils of thoughts. Yeah. Oh yeah, you do. Oh, big hug.
My creation.
Well, I think it's getting to needing the windows open again. Well, unless there's any more questions, if anyone's got anything else they'd like to say.
It's not so much a question, but there is always the same impression. I'm so fascinated when I'm in these kind of meetings, because the fascination is oneness, whatever. I never know what kind of word I should use. Configure us in such different and weird ways.
Yeah.
And even that is one kind of weird configuration. I mean, bodies sitting here, and I would guess most of the bodies with a center of the me who try to find the not me.
Yeah.
And I think that's weird.
It is, and it's just like you say, it's like another configuration rather than the supermarket or the shopping mall or the going to Ibiza.
It's not more.
It's just a different
It's not more.
energy I forget that word now. Configuration. It's just another movement of that energy. But it's absolutely mind-blowing. The less and less you know, the more you're like when you thought this is a cult that think they know something, or this is like a religion, or it's more containable to think about. But the more and more you don't know, the more you're like, wow, this is really weird that this is all appearing. And we're sitting here talking about it. What a funny expression.
And hope that there's more meaning than other things.
Yeah.
Is it maybe true that there's more women in non-duality than in other spiritual areas?
I think in this type of non-duality, actually, it's a little bit more male.
Yeah.
Not just because it's a woman speaking. I mean, like this kind of.
I mean, speakers, yeah.
This kind of bit. Some people might say it's a bit dry or a bit not so much talking about the emotions or the story, or some people might call it intellectual. But mostly, I think in spirituality, there's more women. But we were talking about Tony's. You were saying there's more men.
Yeah.
Still goes to Tony. Well, thank you very much. It's always so lovely sharing. And just in case anybody didn't know, I'm always sharing on Ustream. I'm sure you all know, so you're more than welcome to join.
Join the club.
Yeah.
Very funny videos.
You see more intense when it's live talks. It's not less intense, but it's less back and forth because there's so many more people on Ustream asking questions. It's normally a lot more. Whereas these sort of talks, it's normally a lot more silence, actually. Questions on that? So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
It really relies on the questions, honestly. Only a short bit if there's no questions. So it's really unfair that I get paid for it. But that's life, it's unfair.
You don't get, we didn't tell you.
Yeah. Nothing.